Hello, guys. Hope you're having a merry Christmas. Hopefully you're having a good Christmas season. But yeah, this is a video that I did not want to make. I was so on the edge of like it was like a will they won't will I won't I for this. So ultimately, I wanted to do this video because I wanted to get the shit out here. So yeah. So like our main discussion point is this person named NeoTheYoshare. NeoTheYoshare is a Singaporean autistic YouTuber who owns a fandubbing project team known as Yoshi Network. For like me particularly, and a few other people, working at Yoshi Network was a complicated experience. Sorry. But as I was saying, it was a complicated experience that was that was filled with some ups and downs, and ultimately ending up to seeing Neo as a horrible person. So yeah, I will be able to just vent this all out. I'll be like in this video. I'm doing this unscripted, but I'll be able to like vent this all out. Tell people about my experiences with Neo, and ultimately like let you guys be in the know about what he's doing. In Yoshi Network, I used to voice the main announcer for the promos and a few other supporting characters in some shows I can't really disclose, and uh, as well as do some of the music for the network. I also did some of the commercials as well, particularly the gambling PSA and the Mario's Madness commercial. But yeah, about Neo. Neo's Neo's way of running things is that he always has a chokehold on on every single thing that goes through the network. Even if you do something that's like slightly adjacent to the if I wanted to keep it in the network, it has to go through Neo. I mean, it's kind of it's okay, but like there would be there would be some projects that would be like I would be okay with some projects being like still be a part of Yoshi Network, but not relating to Yoshi Network at all. And this brings me to my first topic of discussion: Slap Battles Defense Edition. This is the second. It's fan game based on Slap Battles, and particularly Slap Battles Defense Edition 2 was was a project that me and a few other people were that were part of Yoshi Network were, you know, part part of. So I don't know how to describe this, but like yeah, me and a few others from Yoshi Network were also wanted to help out with Slap Battles Defense Edition, and knowing I was like one of the bigger people in the Yoshi network, I decided that it would be a good idea to get Yoshi network to do some of the the voice acting in Slap Battles Defense Edition. So, Slap Battles Defense Edition, like as of now, does not have voice acting, but we wanted to change that. Me, G Corp, Vena, and KZ, we wanted to do work for Slap Battles Defense Edition, and I voiced Druid in SBDE, and I wanted like some other people that I knew who were like really good voice actors to be part of the project. So so even though it was quote unquote unauthorized, I still wanted to like get the project going through, and generally that was a good idea. I could take the fault for that one because I did without Neo's permission, but like production was in the shitter. Even though people were busy, the production of like stuff was generally just non-existent. Like ever since the Happy Happy Clover um episode released. Like even though there was a little bit of work done on every episode, it was generally like this. Even though I can talk this up to people being busy, it would be just try to unearth this crap from like the grave. Like it was like Yoshi Network was at a low point, and like me and a few me and a few others just wanted to like liven it up. So we made the channel. We got audition set up, and then Neo Neo decided that he wanted to join the project. Even though it wasn't made with permission, he wanted to join the project by putting in certain things that relate to the Yoshi Network properties, even though they are unneeded, which shows that Yoshi Network is kind of a bit of a dictatorship. Like everything gets through him. Nothing, nothing will, nothing will change, or nothing will happen unless he gets to say. So ultimately, it got shut down. Some of us tried to give Neo a reality check,
and it was ultimately fruitless. So it got deleted. What baffles me is that in that same auditions channel, there was a Teletubbies audition, and it was like not affiliated with Yoshi Network. So it's kind of baffling that Neo would take this down and not the one that wasn't a part of Yoshi Network, because the auditions channel was primarily for just Yoshi Network and Yoshi Network alone. So it just surprised me that he would go after me, KZ, Vena, and Bombu, and not the other person. Like, or even if he did go after me and not the others, he would go after the other person as well. So that's something that you can learn from Neo. And so, segue to the second talking point. Neo is very hard headed. Like if he will not get any idea. He will not like accept any ideas, and even if he does, he will fuck him up so badly that it just isn't the thing you wanted. So, basically, a lot of people wanted to do like other dubs on Yoshi Network. Like, there was someone who wanted to do Steven Universe dubs. Me and we wanted to do video game dubs. Like, I primarily wanted to do like something Mario related, and he would like to do something like Mega Man related. And I mean, like, no offense to Mega Man, but, like it is a good series, but like Mario would fit with Yoshi Network. So, but like Neo wouldn't really want that. So, ultimately, well, like, I should really start saying ultimately, but I still say it, but like, but then he did warp it into the Mario Terabiko dub that they were doing. I might be leaking this shit, but at this point I don't really care, because like, I'm not part of the network. I'm not part of what Neo is doing, yet I still have the tiniest amount of grace to let him still use all my assets that I've made for Yoshi Network. But in the end, I am not a part of them, and I wanted to bring this up so I can make a point. Because ultimately, Neo would like ignore all of these ideas, and then always try to come up with a compromise that only benefits him and not anyone else. Like, we could have made like a Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga dub work, but like, he was not having it, and we settled for the Mario Terabiko dub, even though it is a good series. Not like a series, it is a good idea. It just kind of shows that Neo does have a chokehold on the network, and it doesn't allow for full creative control, like, over like all of these things. Just like like on a side tangent, like just like a lot of like companies, because yeah. Now let's not get too tensed up into like more menial stuff, more, or, oh, you're just kind of being petty stuff, and then get into like more serious stuff. Like, it'll be a little bit petty, but still kind of serious, because Neo is also self-righteous bitch. Like, he would never, like, he would always try to defend his decisions with his like own, like, with his life. And like, in a VC, we were talking about Wonderful Pretty Cure, and how like Neo didn't like the fact that like there was no action, and I kind of agreed with him, but like, I still find Wonderful Pretty Cure like a really good series despite that. And like, it ended up kind of being a like back and forth, just like the two of us, or like like me and Venna, like it was like a 2v1, where we're just like, smoke the copium. It feels like you're being self-righteous. It feels like you're just forcing the opinions onto us, and ultimately we don't like that. So, smoke the copium. He was like scrambling to try to convince us that like his opinion is valid, but it ended up feeling like he was forcing his opinion onto us, and that is just a shitty move. That's like generally just like a shitty move, because like even if people respect his opinion, like not even the tiniest speck would probably even care. And then he talks about how Streamy, his friend, shares the same opinion as him. And another thing that I don't really like about him is that he uses Streamy as like this all-knowing deity, this all powerful like God, and he says and he always hides behind him, seeking validation for his opinions through him, because like every time I tried to confront him about like problems or things that I don't really like about him, he would bring up Streamy like a few times, talking about how he has the same opinion, or like how he will change my mind, and I'm like, no, fuck that. You're not going to do anything to change my opinion. Like, nobody will care if your friend has the same opinion as you, because like ultimately, like not even like the entire world would care. Like, we're like the only they're like just a 1 in like 8 billion people who would care. So now we go into the more controversial shit, because Neo would sometimes disregard people's feelings. One of those people that he would have like a really bad interaction with was Luca. So Luca, he had a horrible experience regarding the 2024 election. It was Trump versus Harris, and ultimately, in the end, Trump won. And Luca was not in a really sound mindset. He genuinely wanted to overdose on his antidepressants. He was wanting to overdose on his antidepressants because he was just crushed that Trump would be in that position of power, and it would lead to him being in danger. So he thought that just game ending would be better than surviving with Trump at the helm. And I don't have any strong opinions on the election, because I'm not an American that is invested in politics. I'm just a Canadian that just wants to survive in this world. But Luca was just going through a lot. And after that almost suicidal episode, he tried to gain recomposure, tried to put himself in a positive mindset that there is hope, but he was still a little bit distraught. So he went onto Twitter and talked to some people. I don't know if it's some people, but he said on his homepage that he was just feeling down, and he would want to he would want to voice act in a skit regarding this series that he likes. Even though there were some people who wanted to do it, Neo just disregarded his feeling. Neo was like, big whoop, you got depressed over the election. You still need to finish the lines to this to this fandubbing project that I'm doing, even though you came back from like a really horrifying like experience. Suck it up. And I'm like, once that came out, once Luca told me this, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? Why? Like, just genuinely, why? Why would you do that to someone who was going through a lot? Like, you're just invalidating their feelings. And genuinely just are being a scummy human being. That you don't care about one's livelihood, and just care about the efficiency of the people that you employ to do shit for you. So yeah, that is fucking vile. That is so that's so generally vile. I want to just look you straight in the eye and tell you that what you've done was wrong. And this wasn't the first time you did this, Neo. Neo did the same thing to one of my friends named Vena. They go by Venanana on YouTube, and Vena was also not feeling it. They were in a horrible situation, like they were in like a horrible mindset, and Neo disregarded that. Even though I think he did say it was okay, but he did pester Vena to do it, and like just told, and like instead of saying, "Oh, that's okay. You can do them whenever you're okay. Hey, it's no big deal." Neo just said, "You have to get those lines done by blank." Another disregarding of one's feelings. A disregard of one's thoughts, one's feelings, one's mental state. And Vena was so sick of it. Was so sick of Neo that Vena, like, it wasn't her who did the lines for a Happy Happy Clover fan dub or a comic dub. She had to get an alter to do the lines for her because she was just so out of it that she just wanted to just disconnect. And this isn't even getting started on his more worse endeavors. So there is a pedophile in the Project Sakai community named Starry Kitties. Starry Kitties, who is also part of the Pretty Cure and some of the FNF community. She has groomed minors, and possibly, and take this with a grain of salt, raped a 15-year-old. She physically raped a 15-year-old and tried to sweep it under the rug. I think, but I don't know that much. But yeah, Vena was manipulated by Star, and so are some of like some of her other friends in a group known as One House. More on them later. And I don't know where Streamy or Neo got the idea, but they decided it was a good idea to forgive what was essentially just PJSK Diddy. I'm sorry, but what the actual hell? And once confronted by the victims who were genuinely disgusted, he tried to defend Star, because like he was like saying oh, you don't know the full story, what's there more to know? She manipulated some of her victims. She groomed minors. She possibly even raped one. What's there more to know? Like, Jesus. Like, I would like to just, like, you know, I just say, this is wrong. This is so awfully vile. Like, I just can't. And then you have the gall to say, like, you have to, and you sent some of the victims, like, a fucking Kung Fu Panda clip, talking about how like holding a grudge is like not okay, and just letting them move on and turn them into better people. But like, this is an S level threat. Like, what the fuck did they just say? I'm keeping that in. I'm keeping that in. That was kind of funny, but she is an S level threat. She is an S level threat. This is Project Sakai Diddy we're talking about. Like, Jesus, like, you would like save that Kung Fu Panda clip for someone who just did some scummy things that aren't crimes, but you can't really say that to someone who has done a crime before, because like, who knows what they'll do next? Who knows if they'll just do it again? Like, instead of just forgiving Star, like, you should have realized that she could have been on Neighborhood Watch. She should have been on the cover of Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. You know all the sex offender pins on Drake's house. That one of them should have been Star. Like, I don't even know what type of rationale you and Streamy had to get through with this. But like, Jesus! And then when you tried to further defend yourself, you tried to compare you forgiving Star to I think Singapore forgiving Japan in World War II, which is so fucking tone deaf. I am sorry, but like, comparing the soldiers that fought for your freedom and fought for you so you can be able to do whatever shit you're doing, to you forgiving someone who should be a registered sex offender, is vile. I might be saying this a lot, but like, these are all things, like, you knew that like Star was a problematic person, yet you still forgave her anyways, despite that. And going back to that tweet you made, That's so disrespectful to all the victims of Star and to the people who risked their lives on the line to fight for your freedom back in World War II, back in those times where men like you didn't have a choice but to join the army and fight. And this isn't like the first time you did. You've talked about like how you hated like Singaporean nationalism ceremonies, and like, even though I do find them a bit annoying, I wouldn't go to the point that I would genuinely hate them, because I don't know, like, this is the country that you call home. This is the country that you are proud to be in because you are free to be who you are, and then you slander it, saying like, they're doing some like Singapore for national ceremony where you have to sing like Singaporean songs. I wish we should like instead sing like the songs that I like to sing. And I'm like, that's just disrespect. Like, you can, if Singaporean soldiers had to deal with artillery firing left and right, tanks blasting, machine guns slowly running out of ammo, you can handle being there for like a Singaporean national ceremony at your school. And going back to that tweet, he talked about how people should move on about you forgiving Star, but like it seemed like you forgave and supported a child groomer. Let me repeat that, because like it probably might have been not that clear. You forgave and supported a child groomer, and for the final time, you supported and forgave a child groomer. It's so baffling that I have to see you fall down from grace like this. I can't even look you in the eye. Like, in just unspoken horror that you would do this. But I guess that's the unfortunate truth. That's the unfortunate truth. That you supported Star, and even after you cut ties with Star, it's still there. It can still be an offense that I can call you out upon. And it's also ironic that you talked about how I wasn't a good friend because I talked about how a certain fetish was like how I was being so toxic about a certain fetish for a justifiable reason. And the only argument is that it was for adults, but all of the things regarding that fetish were mostly pertaining to minors. And you talked about how that was a totally different thing in of itself. And I can sure find that fitting that once you said that, it came out that you forgave Star for, even though he's done very horrifying actions to minors. And now, for our last topic of discussion is the shirt incident. And I had to witness this on both screenshots from Twitter and on Precord. Not Precord, the other Precure Discord. You should really check it out. It's a good server. Definitely better than Precord, which is another can of worms. So there was a person in the server named Ivy, and they also have a Twitter account. And on that Twitter account and in the server, they posted a picture of a shirt. This shirt in particular. And Neo said something that wasn't the nicest. I mean, it would have been more, you know, like more in good taste if this was worded like more politely. And I've heard from a lot of people, including some of the people that were defending Ivy, that this was fat shaming. And even though I kind of get where they're coming from, I don't think this is fat shaming, but this is just very impolite. Like Neo, you could have just worded that very, very, very differently. And then after they got into trouble with this, they then thought it's a good idea to scavenge for her height in her really, really old tweets. And yeah, that is a bit creepy. Like, I am going to say it is a bit creepy. And Neo then crashed out, and then his next course of action was to tell lies about that friend group, One House, who were defending Ivy. So yeah, I told you we were going to talk about One House later. So basically, Neo accused One House as a cult, and said that they harassed and doxed people. And this was all factually wrong. This was all debunked by like one of Ivy's friends, or like a person from One House. And ultimately, a lot of the people who used to be like part of Yoshi Network basically dipped, knowing that the place is not the place where I want to be. It isn't a fun place to be. It is genuinely like a place that you have to avoid. And to Neo, I thought you were cool. I thought you were like a really good friend. But now, after seeing all of this shit unfold, after seeing what you have done, and what makes you a douchebag, and possibly like almost supporting someone who's done irrepeatable actions, I'm sorry. I can't just support you anymore. You are a really like emotionally and mentally unsound person. I'm saying this in like the most nicest way possible, because I don't want to call you stupid. I don't want to call you anything of the sorts. And I'm trying to do this with the most honesty and the most politeness as possible. But yeah, you've done some stuff, and you always hide behind someone. You always hide behind Streamy. Once I confronted you about this shit, you just told me, like, what if we can be able to fix this? What if I can bring Streamy in to do something and like get us back on even terms? And I'm like, no, I don't want to bring Streamy in the situation. I want you to deal with this on your own, and I don't want you to rely on Streamy for his opinion. I do not want you to be overly reliant on Streamy. I don't want you to be over reliant on that person, because that's what I'm seeing with you forgiving Star and you trying to forgive me, or try to put me on even terms with you. And I'm like, no, if you're going to try to put me on even terms, you have to do it yourself without the help of anyone else, because it's your battle to fight, and you don't have to put another person into your mess. I was going to segue, but that's all I have to say. Don't hide behind someone. Own up for your actions. Take a look in the mirror and say to yourself, I have done something wrong. Because that's what you've done. You've pushed many people away from you. And you fail to see that. So, unless you make a public statement, or I find something that's that will be redeemable, very redeemable, I could have that sliver of grace to forgive you, and so we can be able to go on even terms. So, yeah. Just take a look in the mirror and just meditate. Reflect on what you've done. And that's it. Sorry if this is the video that you weren't wanting to see on this channel. I will go back to the more lighthearted content since Christmas is coming. And yeah, hopefully you have a good day, and see you on the flip side.